Welcome back to DTTV, third or fourth video this week, believe it or not. So, as I mentioned in my last video, those that watched it, I needed some high temp paint in order to get rid of the red paint marks that are on the manifold and exhaust. So I'm going to go back now, take off the exhaust wrap, use the wire wheels, which I've got here, to strip that red paint off, and then put a coat of this silver high temp paint on, just so that when the manifold joins the back of the engine, the colours are in keeping. It's minor, but considering the amount of effort I've put towards making the engine look as good as it does, I'm really keen to spray the ends where it bolts onto the engine. So I'm guessing Warren's probably sprayed the whole exhaust red, but because the exhaust wrap's going to go back on it, it means I've only got to do the ends, so it's not going to be that much of a job. So if I can try and do that today, the centre section of the exhaust and the manifold end. Also, there is the back box which is painted red, which I need to do some work on as well. So perhaps I'll get that out from underneath the car and have a look at that as well. So that's the target for today: sort out the exhaust and centre section, and if I've got time as well, I may start wire wheeling the gearbox as well to make a start on that, because I have a feeling that's going to take quite a while. Hopefully not as long as the supercharger, because that was a pain in the ass. So yeah, it's New Year's Eve today, so I also wanted, Sean's asked me to put some lights up above the hot tub, so that is my other job to do today. So I'll you may even see that on the time lapse if I wanted to put it in. So yeah, let's get back home, get in the garage. It's bloody freezing, so I'll get the heater on and we'll see what we can achieve today. So brilliant. Okay, so here's the manifold. I'm hoping I don't have to unwrap the whole thing looking at it. If I can just take off these top sections and unwrap it from there down to here and then cover it up, that'll be great. It'll save me having to undo the whole wrap, because the wrap's gone on pretty well. And I'll also do around this little section here. I've got some spare of these metal clamps, so if I can undo this end, clean that up, paint it. Same with this end. I'm also tempted to check the exhaust ports and make sure that they match nicely with the head and the gasket matcher, so that will help with the flow, this power. So perhaps I'll go and grab that in a second and take a look. But at the moment, let's get the oh, you can see it is red in there, but not, you can't see it very well. So let's undo these four anyway, and then let's go from there. Success. Take a look at that, boys. Rewrapped, all the red is gone, looking fresh. I left these open in case I do decide to put a heat shield on. Probably be alright with it being heat wrapped. There's a little section there, it's a little loose, but I mean, it's for my first attempt. I'm really happy with that. It's looking good. Obviously just got rid of the red round there. I mean, it's just a bit, some would say pointless, but I just didn't like the look of the red. And now that these are silver, it's much better. I mean, there's a bit in there, you can still see a little bit, but hey, I'm really happy with those lights coming up. I think I'll stop there and take a photo and put that as the thumbnail for the YouTube video. I also cleaned up the ends of these ones, as you can see, looking fresher. Didn't have to take the wrap off for that. Clean the end there and clean that part bracket up. The exhaust is under the car, so I'm just going to put up these lights above the hot tub, which I mentioned earlier, and once that's done, if I've got a bit of time, I'll get the exhaust out from under the car and take a look at it and try and perhaps start putting the wheel on it and getting some more of the paint off. But yeah, really happy with that. Really glad I came in to sort that out. So another job done. The parts smile, that's a good one, isn't it? The parts area, the parts to do, is looking much better now. There's next to nothing down here, I don't think, that needs to be doing. It's all body work, which I mentioned in the last video, and this shell, which is going to take ages. There's a lot of headlamps that I need to sort, but yeah, really happy with that. I might get these shocks out and put them up on the shelf because they look a bit better on the shelf rather than just stuff down there. But yeah, really happy with how that's coming together. Take a look at that. Right, let's get these lights up anyway. Today is the 2nd of Jan. I had a day off yesterday because I was hungover to balls. So I've just decided to pop out to get a dolly for the engine. You probably remember me mentioning that I was going to drop the engine off the engine stand so I could put the gearbox on. So I found a dolly at Tool Station for like a tenner. I'm going to get that and put that up. So it'll push me to get the gearbox done basically, and then get that all built up, and then I can take the engine stand down and put that away, which gives me a little bit more room in the garage. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go and do now, and then later on today I'm hoping to get back into the garage and finish off the rest of the exhaust. As you saw yesterday, I did the manifold 2 days ago, the manifold and the centre section, getting rid of all the red paint and rewrapping it. Well, I want to have a go at the back box as well. I don't know if it's stainless steel or steel, so obviously if it's steel, I might end up painting it in that high temp paint. If it's stainless steel, then obviously I'll clean it up and polish it to make it look good. So we'll have a look at that hopefully today. Other than that, I might start the gearbox, but we'll see. So yeah, let's go and get this dolly and I'll catch you again in a bit. So I'm not sure where I last left you. I think it might have been the exhaust. So yeah, there's all the exhaust. I forgot I actually got the cat and decat powder coated, so I'm not sure what to do, and I might just leave them as they are, or I could paint them in the same high temp paint that I've done on the rest of the exhaust and up by here, which you saw earlier on in the video. The other thing I picked up was this temp dolly for 10 quid, which means, as I've already mentioned, when I drop the engine down I can put it on there and fit the gearbox and fit all the clutch, and then push the whole engine out the way and dismantle the engine crane and put that up at the way in the loft. I've been doing a lot of research into setting up the supercharger and vacuum lines and stuff like that. So for those that don't know, this is a standard Puma throttle body, and it's recommended that when using this inlet, the Super 1600 inlet, that you upgrade to a V6 or a Mondeo ST220 or ST200 throttle body, which means that the throttle body actual size is bigger. I can't remember the sizes off the top of my head, but as you can see, it is bigger. So that's that sorted. I've added the wiring looms, the 2 engine wiring looms to the engine now. This connector here, which goes into the standard Puma throttle, this does not fit into this Mondeo one. That's the standard one, this is the Mondeo one. I did try to swap this over and just swap this item over, however they're not quite the same. The hole gap, believe it or not, is slightly smaller on this one, so the bolts don't fit, which is a little bit annoying. So what it does mean is that I'm going to have to put that onto there, is cut the standard Puma one here and fit to these 3 wires here for the throttle position sensor. Annoyingly, you can see there that the cables, the 3 cable colours, don't match up with here, so I need to check and ensure that the 3 that I replace are the same 3 on there. Obviously you don't want to be facing issues, so that's something to sort out. Let's have a look whilst I found some suitable bolts to fit the Super 1600 inlet onto the actual inlet pipes. That's gone on well to the engine with the new studs you just saw me installing a moment ago, all on there. However, it is hitting, you can see there's a little gap in here, hopefully it is hitting here on the alternator. So that stud there, hopefully you can see that, I'll need to hacksaw down a couple of threads just so that goes up against it, because I've double checked and this is correctly positioned against the oh bloody hell, cylinder head. Get there in the end. So the cylinder head is aluminium, and the bolts that I've fitted, I'm not quite sure which metal they are, but when you're mixing 2 metals you should use copper grease, which is what you saw me putting onto each one of these threads. So they've got copper grease on, so it makes it easier for removal next time we take them out. Back on vacuum hoses. So here, basically in this inlet, I can't see any vacuum hose points. There is a little hole here which goes in, so you might be able to put a vacuum out of there and take that to the fuel regulator and to the actuator, which is here, which I need to, you'll see me in a minute fiddling around with this, figuring how to put this onto here. I believe it's something like that. And once that's on there, we'll need another vacuum line which is coming to the inlet. So I'm thinking that out of the bottom of the inlet I might have a vacuum line from here that will go to there, and then there's a vacuum line that comes out of the supercharger. I think that vacuum line there would be suitable for the brake booster, and there's a smaller one at the bottom here which will go to the fuel regulator. So there'll be a small line going from the top there down to that one, and then the inlet to that one. I think I could do it that way. I hope I can do it that way around. That's all the stuff I've been reading about at the moment. The idle control valve, the ICV, this is here, that usually sits on the standing manifold about there. However, that's obviously not going to fit and there's no holes for it. What there is on the back here is a port here. I need to check what that is. for possibly a MAF centre. I understand that you can run the engine without an idle control valve. So again, if anybody can help me on this, let me know what I need to do in terms of the idle control valve. Can I just leave it off altogether and forget about that? And then hopefully it'll run better with it once it's got a MAF sensor. I'm not too sure. So yeah, if anybody can give me any guidance on that, that'd be great. Moving on, still not received the tensioner, but that should be coming on the 12th, and today I think is the 6th, so still a bit of time to wait for that. So need to figure out how to get this to go on here, then I'm going to clean it up and paint it. But what I need to do is ask Warren how he originally had planned to have it fitted, because what this does is it actuates the opening. So when the car's on idle, you need this open, but when you hit the accelerator and it creates boost, the vacuum line from here will tell this the engine's asking for air, which would open that up, and then the compressed air would close the bit in there, and then all the compressed air would come out of there through the intercooler, and then up into the inlet. So as I said, all a learning curve to me, but what I need to do in a minute is figure out how this is going on here, clean it up and get it in. So yeah, that's enough waffling. As I said, it's all I'm learning as I go, and if anybody's got any advice and help, I'm certainly appreciate it. So let's try and figure out this for the moment and get it cleaned up. Catch you in a minute. Where are we at? So I cut down the extended thread that was coming out the alternator and hitting the Super 1600 inlet, and now it's cut and used a thinner bolt. It's not actually making contact anymore. Once the cable that comes off here is on, it may push it out a little bit further, so it's going to be quite a tight fit still, but I'm happy I can make that work. So that's that done. I'm still having issues with the fitment and location of this, if I'm completely honest. I think it's going to go like that, but it just doesn't seem to be lining up properly and the mechanism working. So I'll have to perhaps speak to Warren, who originally designed this, to see if he can aid me with that at all. This plate he had made for the throttle cable, however, when it was this one, the smaller one, the clearances were fine. However, what I've had to do is put a small cut into this plate here in order to allow that to move. So it was just a fine cut and just giving it enough room now so I can utilise this piece. I'd like it to have been square across there, but I think the angle that I've got here and the throttle cable's here and it's onto that bolt, that will be adequate. What I'm going to do now is I'll take this off, because that's one of the items that needs to go to be powder coated. So I'm glad I found that. I've also picked up a heat shield. I haven't mentioned this yet. It's used, but it's in really good condition. I'm going to give it a clean up in a minute. I'll get these bolts re-zinced. But other than that, as I said, it's in good condition. And that will obviously go on there once done. So I might give that a clean now. And obviously still continue to fiddle around getting this actuator fitted, because it is really frustrating, if truth be told. But yeah, it's really taken shape a bit more than it was. So yeah, let's see if we get this actuator on, and let's get this cleaned up. So some degreaser and some brake cleaner and a tiny little bit of metal polish, and I think you'll agree that's come out pretty well. Might need a little bit more on the top, but it's not in bad condition. Now, as I said, I'll take these bolts out and get them zinc plated in the next batch. But for now, that's pretty good. I think I'm going to put that up on the manifold, because I'm pretty certain I can fit that once with the manifold on. So yeah, let's get that lined up and find some suitable bolts to put it on. There we go, another job done. Actually fitted quite well. I haven't got one on my racing Puma because the manifold that I've got on there is an aftermarket one, and it doesn't have the mounting points, I don't believe, so that's why it's not on there. But all in all, I think that's pretty good. As I said, it could do with a little bit more of a clean up, and I'll get these two cleaned up as well. However, yeah, another part done. I'll add it to the pile. Right, another bit done. That's about the dirtiest thing that was left in the garage off the car, so it's good to have it done. It's in pretty good condition, to be fair. Okay, so after playing with this for a few times now, I can't figure out what's going on. I thought that it needs to be, that's the original position where it goes stock, but I can't seem to get this mechanism to work. Now, I think Warren put this plate on, because this has to be mounted on here and it works a different way, so I need to check that out. So I've asked Warren that, so hopefully he'll get back to me and advise me. I also need to figure out what he intended to do here. I thought that he was originally going to put a throttle body on here, but I can't seem to line that up to make that work. So I would like to find out what his idea was originally, because I'd like to put a pipe here, then a cone filter, which would draw in the air, forced induction through the intercooler, and then back up into the throttle body, and then into the powerhouse. So yeah, that's frustrated me a little bit, but I'm sure Warren will be able to help me out and we'll figure that out. So what I've decided to do is the last part is, this was a silencer tip that he put on. However, thanks to Alan, he sold me this standard Ford Racing Puma tip, so eventually I can get this welded onto here. So what I need to do, it looks like this is a stainless steel one, the same as the one I've got on mine, so it looks like it's the same exhaust system that's on my current Racing Puma, which is a little on the raspy side. I've been advised that just the steel one, as opposed to stainless steel, does sound a little bit better. So we'll see what it sounds like once it's fitted. I'm sure it'll be fine, but it might be better with the decat on it, which my Puma's got at the moment. So what I'm going to do now is I'll take off these rubbers. I'll probably look to remove this heat wrap and re-put that on, and look at removing the paint on here and seeing what we can get this up to like, and see if we can smash this off and get this tip off ready for when we get that welded on. So that's going to be the last thing I do today, so I'll probably sign out the video there. If I can remind you to share the videos if you think anybody would find them interesting, and like, and any comments are welcome. So I'll leave you on time lapse, but that'll be the last thing I do today. So yeah, till next time, I gotta get on. That was a bit of excitement, wasn't it?